Hey guys, what's up? It's me, your pal MattyO here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the biggest threat to all commentary channels on all of YouTube. You might have heard that YouTube is rewriting their policy on creator harassment at some point this year. Now, to be clear, I don't view any of my videos personally as harassing anybody, just a bit of criticism here and there to what are essentially co-workers. However, there are some folks who think that all commentary channels should be banned because they dare to criticize those creators. Recently, Alfie Deyes, a YouTuber with over 5 million subscribers, had a chance to speak with Susan Wojcicki, the CEO of YouTube, during which he exposed his radical views on the commentary community. As I don't want to prove him right, I just want to ask you guys one thing. Just don't go out, don't harass him, don't do anything based on information you learn in this video. We don't want to prove this guy right. Now, some background on Alfie, why he doesn't view the commentary community as very good, might have to do with the fact that in the past, Alfie has received some serious criticism from the commentary community. Most notably when he did a challenge where he tried to live on $1, or I guess actually a British pound for a day. Now this garnered widespread criticism for a few fairly obvious points. Firstly, it's kind of a slap in the face to actual poor people. Seeing a millionaire young adult pretending to be just a poor person, it's not exactly the most sensitive thing. Secondly, even after enduring the difficult challenges, such as, drinking from the tap water, he still drove to his personal training session in a Land Rover, which completely invalidates the whole video because you're not living off a pound if you're using gas in your really expensive car. It's ridiculous, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're here to talk about his attack on the commentary community, and he went straight to the top. So let's take a look at his question to the CEO of YouTube, Susan Wojcicki.
If I've been told, this side of the year kind of thing, that it's going to be happening, there will be new harassment laws where videos of a creator bashing another creator will not be acceptable on the platform anymore. Because the people's whole channels are just built now, tearing each other down, and it benefits the person creating the video because they're earning a ton of money.
Well, so
it just
I
makes me
have
think,
to see the
what
video.
platform do I want to be part of that is actively promoting a creator hating another creator to benefit themselves, not because they're hating the creator.
Right, no, I understand. And
Notice how he phrases that. Videos where a creator bashes another creator will not be acceptable on the platform anymore. And it benefits the person creating the video because they're earning a ton of money. Now, the only way that I personally can interpret those statements is to think that he must clearly think that commentary videos are made solely for the purpose of making money. That commentary YouTubers want to do nothing more than to tear someone down for their own monetary incentive. I think that is a blatantly false premise, and that commentary channels provide a really important function to the community. Commentary channels provide the ability for creators to police creators, calling them out on things that they do that just isn't right. For instance, earlier this year, a few certain high-profile YouTubers with child audiences promoted gambling sites to their kid followers, and the commentary community was very vocal in calling that out. But it kind of seems to me that Alfie wants to be above reproach, or he believes that some YouTubers should be above reproach. He might just believe that YouTubers have no right to criticize what another YouTuber does, no matter how shady or bad it might be. Fortunately though, the world does not work that way, and at least over here in America, God bless, it's perfectly legal to criticize people for their actions. Realistically, there are probably some channels out there that stretch the commentary name a little thin. However, I've always been and will always be an advocate for free speech, which means that I'm alright with anybody saying whatever they want, no matter the consequences. But I do realize that YouTube is trying to run a business, and when things like harassment pop up in the news, it's bad for business. And YouTube kind of has to change in order to maintain their image. Well, actually, they're kind of a monopoly, and they have no serious competitors in the market, so they don't really have to change, but they feel like they should. Now, what I'm most afraid of in this scenario is that YouTube is going to implement some kind of Twitch-style authoritarian rule that forbids even the well-thought-out arguments and reasonable criticism of another creator on the platform, which would be absolutely ridiculous, and I'm fairly sure that it would spell the beginning of the end for YouTube. And I think Susan feels the same way, because just look at how carefully she chooses her words here in response to Alfie's question.
Our goal is to enable our content creators to create valuable content that's beneficial for society, not to be creating a content and getting their views by criticizing someone else, right? Yeah. And trying to take them down in some way, and taking someone who is a celebrity and having their whole content and channel dedicated to criticizing that celebrity. So we understand that there are these motives here that are not good for the ecosystem, they're not good for creators overall, and it's not behavior that we want to encourage. So we understand that. But again, the question is how would we define that in a way that's precise? That we can make sure that we can enforce it. Yeah. And we will talk to creators who are concerned. We've heard this from creators, and we're taking it very seriously. But we want to make sure that we're doing it in a way that is
longevity.
That has longevity. I mean, the worst thing would be to come up with a rule, have that rule be so broad that then everybody is pointing about it. We're not enforcing it consistently, and people feel like our policies have no teeth behind them, right? So we need to come out with a policy that we know is clearly is enforceable, understandable, and that we can take action on. And so again, we don't just roll stuff out. We do test it. We talk to experts and then we test it. And I think it's really important to get that right because I understand and I understand the harassment issue and I understand that is really a dark and difficult part if that's happening to a creator and it's not something that we want to encourage. But the policy has to be written in such a way that creators can comment on each other and criticize each other,
100%.
right? And so the question is, how do you draw the difference between creators criticizing each other and being part of this free speech and open ideas and then like where do you draw that line? Where do they cross the line? That's no longer just about ideas, but they're criticizing them as a person, criticizing their channel is based upon that, and so we need to really tease that out in a clear and consistent way.
That was actually a response that gives me hope that YouTube isn't just going to nuke all commentary channels. The last bit where she mentions that there needs to be a line where free speech is still allowed, but harassment is not something that they want to allow, is something that I can agree with. I don't really, want to restrict speech, but I can see why it's a reasonable rule. However, she also mentioned that YouTube doesn't exactly have a history of good enforcement with new rules, which is something that I do agree with. In fact, I'd say that the majority of the time on this site, it feels like creators have absolutely no idea what's allowed, what's not allowed, what's monetizable, what's not monetizable, etc. Therefore, I'm very concerned when they say that this is going to be a clear policy, because they have no history of actually doing so. In fact, right now, the only way to get support from YouTube is through the Team YouTube Twitter handle, which is an awful way to conduct customer support, and most of the time it kind of seems like they just outright ignore anything that isn't about YouTube TV. Now back to the interview where Alfie proclaims what he wants from YouTube.
I think it's just such a clash of freedom of expression, but then freedom to belong. Like I know so many people that have had so many negative videos made about them that they don't feel like they belong.
Right.
And I'm like,
Well,
that's not the goal of YouTube, but then the other person should have freedom of expression. And I'd love for YouTube to say either, no freedom of expression, trumps it, so you can say that about other creators, or, as a platform we don't agree with that, freedom to belong is more important to us in these scenarios, you can't do that. But because there's no answer, people are literally like printing money at the moment, and YouTube's rewarding it by hating people, or just making factually not even correct, like things that if a newspaper said about somebody, they'd be sued in like 10 minutes. But because there is no laws around it, it's literally like the Wild West, plus YouTube's making money.
Now, from that statement, it seems to me like he's trying to argue that YouTube can't have a freedom to belong and still allow free speech on the platform, which is kind of a startling message. If in fact that is what he believes, that says to me that there are creators that actually think that their freedom from criticism, which I'll note is not enumerated in the First Amendment of the Constitution, trumps other people's freedom of speech, which is a legitimate human right. It's a very European attitude that you should not have to endure anything that offends you, and one that I think is completely ridiculous. If we take away people's rights to criticism, that is, if we lived in a world where nobody is allowed to criticize anybody else no matter what, then we would find ourselves subjugated by our obligation to allow others to do whatever they want, and we would have no freedom. Anything that interferes with their opinions, anything that makes them feel hurt, we couldn't do it, and if we couldn't do that, then we wouldn't be free. There's no way to be free and do stuff that doesn't piss off somebody else, unfortunately. Beyond that, Alfie once again criticizes commentary channels as money grubbing. He seems to think that the only reason that anybody makes commentary videos is for money, which misses the point of the entire genre. Right now, I earn no money from my channel at all, yet I still make videos. Why? Because commentary isn't about making money. It's about speaking your opinion and letting people know what you think and getting their feedback. It's about a conversation. There are some people, I'm sure, who only care about making money, but I feel fairly confident that the majority of commentary channels just want to speak their mind. That's all. Lastly, he mentions that some people are saying things that would get a newspaper sued, but you can't do anything about it because there is no law. What does that even mean? It's a belligerently false statement. YouTube does not create laws. No matter what policy changes Susan makes, it will never affect your ability to sue another creator. There are libel and slander laws, which I'm fairly sure, now I'm no lawyer, they're pretty strong in the UK. I'm fairly sure about that, at least compared to the United States, that you can use if you actually feel like you're being lied about. However, most commentary channels don't slander people, and instead just provide their opinions on certain events, which does not really fall under libel or slander laws. And so if that's what you want to sue over, then I'm sorry. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and again, Susan's response to this is fairly reasonable.
Well, we do have a harassment policy today, but where we've drawn that line, for me, is not high enough.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think we all acknowledge that. So to be fair, we do have a harassment policy. We actually have something called the transparency report, where we publish the number of videos that we remove every quarter and how many of them are removed for different reasons, whether it's hate or harassment or spam or adult content. So we do publish those numbers and we do remove videos for harassment. But I am agreeing with you that the line is not drawn right now in the right place, and that's why we are looking to redraw it. But we want to draw it carefully, not come out like rush with the policy, have that be unenforceable, and then have everybody angry because no one's sure anymore what's allowed. And so it is important to draw it correctly. And I've seen videos that I know that are on a platform that I know will no longer be allowed on the platform anymore. There are definitely videos like that I see as examples of content that is really solely dedicated to harassing a creator and to me cross the line. But I want to make sure that we're working with experts and that we understand and we're hearing from creators and we look at all the different use cases and that we address that. And it's a very serious issue. And I understand how upsetting it is for creators. I understand how difficult it is. And we also see that there are groups that a lot of times are underrepresented in our society and they may be subject to more of this harassment. And that's not our intent, right? We talked about the freedom to belong, that we want people, no matter what their background is, to be able to feel that they're connecting. And if they're feeling like they're coming on the platform and then they're being harassed, then that's the opposite of what we want. So we understand that. But again, we just want to be careful on how we draw those policies and we draw it in a careful, thought-out way.
Now, of course, we all know why YouTube thinks that redrawing the line is important. The Vox articles that came out earlier this year that claimed a certain conservative YouTuber was harassing a certain Vox writer, which is probably a conflict of interest given that Vox was reporting on it, and they were also, one of the reporters was part of the issue. But I didn't go to journalism school, so I don't know. Now, whether or not you believe that that incident was actually harassment, YouTube is going to move in a direction, try to stop similar things from happening in the future in order to avoid the bad press. I just hope that we can avoid full censorship, which is what a lot of people seem to call for. Certain people seem to think that if somebody says something that hurts your feelings, then that constitutes you taking away their right to say those words. Once again, and I want to make myself very clear on this, I'm against any and all restrictions on freedom of speech, period. But I know that YouTube's going to have to change to avoid the negative PR. So I'll just leave this video, I'll end it with my dream, what I want YouTube to do here. I want YouTube to leave their current harassment policies in place. Don't change them from what they are right now. The ones that Susan mentioned in the last segment. Just flush it out a little bit with some actual rules. Don't change the rules because the rules didn't stop something that didn't actually violate the rules in regards to the Vox thing. Instead, show people why that content doesn't violate the rules. Make clearly written out rules that actually describe YouTube's policy. You don't need to change them, you don't need to make them more radical. You just need to actually let us know what they are. Anyway, if you guys have the same opinion, let me know down below. If you have a different opinion, let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, thanks so much for watching to this point. Hit that like button and subscribe, because if you've made it this far, you probably liked the video. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Have a great day. God bless you.